So I found a lot of tension in her belly where the big toe belly band goes, right beside the belly button. And I got rid of some of that, but not all of it, because it's anchored in these big toes. And you can see, like, I try and pull that big toe, it's not going anywhere. Before I get in with chopsticks, I always like to warm up the area because her feet are a little bit cold, even though she's not. You guys probably just used to being cold here. It's like, hey, it's above zero. That's right, you know. But you don't want to work on people with chopsticks if their feet are cold. Okay, so just get in and just do a little bit of stuff to get the circulation going. And we can see, like, all through here is quite tight. So the big toe belly band, of course, is going to be coming up underneath here. So this is actually the best position to access it. Then it comes through the groin, where we generally don't work without special permission. And then into the belly, okay? So it's going to come along here. And you can feel, I can feel it's really tight right in here. Yeah. Okay. And then the source of it is going to be here. And as I was saying to you guys before, now I spend about 70% of my time here. Because if I just got stuck in here, actually I could cause bad pain. If I just tried to push that out, you could feel that if I could easily overwork that spot right in there, hey? Yeah. So I don't want to do that. So I want to come into here. The end of the band is actually right here. So I come in kind of gently at first. You don't want it to be overwhelming. It's easy to actually get up to people's pain thresholds here. So how's that out of 10 for you?
7 and 8.
Okay, good. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually projecting my own energy like a laser beam through the chopstick into that point. Excuse me. And I'm just holding it there and letting her breathe into it. And that's going to take away some of that initial charge. I call it charge, for want of a better word. And I'm moving it ever so slightly, like, I don't know what, like, but anyway, like some sort of cleaning tool. And just letting her breathe into it, and then occasionally, as she gets used to starting to wriggle it. I can feel energy moving into my hand. Again, making sure if I feel like she's tightening up against me, just to ease off slightly. And watching her breath. So I always say pay attention to both the micro and the macro. So the micro being small, macro being big. So the micro is my awareness on this point, and the macro is how is she dealing with it? How is her breathing? Is it increasing too much? Am I stirring up too much? So keeping that contact and then keeping my awareness actually going straight into the chopstick. It's like a transmitter. Kind of weird shit talking about it, but that's what I'm doing. it slightly. So as I feel it, in fact, you were asking the question online. I just didn't get a chance to reply to you. I actually feel it let go. I feel like electrical energy or whatever you want to call it. It's not electric, but
Right.
whatever it is, like some sort of toxic life energy, or again, words don't adequately describe it, but you can actually feel it
Let go.
let go. Okay, whatever it is that's causing this tension and this blockage.
Do you feel it in the joint or at the end of the chopstick?
At the end of the chopstick, I feel it. Instead of it pushing out against me, I can actually sink in more, because it's not, the more charged it is, the more it's going to resist and the more intense it's going to be. So I'm actually going in deeper now as it lets go, and how it lets go is through her breath. Now I'm going in deeper again. And again, wriggling, this tiny little wriggle movement helps to disperse it. It's like I'm accessing it, and this helps to move it. So you want it out. You can see like her hand is shaking. And so now I'm going deeper again. And this is actually the start point for three bands, interestingly. So this point is so powerful because it's the big toe belly band that's going to come this way. It's bands along the bottom here, like leading into the big toe sacrum band, and also to a certain extent, a little bit of charge into the Achilles band. And then this one's going to come right up along the side here, which can be tight on an awful lot of people, and really affect the delta band as well as a bit into the Achilles band as well. And of course, this point here, even though we start a lot of the work on the delta band here, I suspect that a lot of this comes underneath the nail as well. So that's why this point is just so powerful. So once I feel like I've actually got the charge out of it, and to me this is one of the most complicated things, and it takes a while for students to get, because it took me a long while. This is the culmination of 25, 30 years of experience here. Because it was 5 to 7 years ago that I was really starting to understand this point. So now, can you? I don't know if you can see that I'm going in way deeper. Yeah, and it's not so charged for her. Just getting the little bits out that are still holding there. And again, a gentle shaking. So again, perception comes before tools and technique. Okay. Always, always, always. Otherwise, it's just dangerous. If you just kind of go in, what technique do I use? Without tuning into the person and what you're doing, don't do this. Okay? You have to have perception first. So now I've gone a millimeter or two along the band of the big toe belly band. And that's a lot more charged than now, compared to the point that I've just uncharged. So I'm going to let her breathe into that. And I'm projecting that energy into the chopstick, and then wriggling it ever so slightly, and changing the angles microscopically here, just very tiny. And then I'm moving again. Millimeter or two along the band, projecting that energy into there, and it feels charged here. I'm going to let her breathe into that. Changing my angle of my chopstick and the projection of that energy. And again, moving along as that one feels like it's uncharged through her breathing. And still charged. So holding until you get a certain level of depth or a certain level of release, and then a little gentle shaking. Now we're ready to move along a bit. In reflexology, of course, this all relates to a person's head as well. But I'm not really thinking of it like that. So again, it looks like I'm just making the slightest changes of angle, but for her, they're quite intensely significant. And again, wriggling. Here I'm just stretching her toe slightly more as well. And then so we made some pretty good progress, almost a full centimeter now. But I want to be a bit more thorough, so I'm going to come back to where I was. I probably missed a couple spots in between like there. It's a problem when you try and take on too much, you know? So now we're starting to come around the bend of the toe. This can be quite a charged spot, especially for most people on this side. It's really intense in here, okay? So many people have so much tension in the sides, but also on this side it can be. But as I say, if you do a good job between here and here, the rest of it's going to be so easy. Missed a spot there. Again, I hope some of this isn't just too advanced for some of you guys. But at least it might give you some thoughts over the next few years of where to work. So again, just changing the angle slightly and moving it. And she's doing very well because even though I'm working her up to her threshold, that's enough for me to really do a great release on this band. just moving it slightly. I often relate this area around here to the jaw. In reflexology, it's pretty similar, but you know, I see it has a lot to do with it too. Here I'm just rolling slightly over. You can see how thin the band is here. It's actually at that point where I'm starting to actually feel it as a band rather than as a kind of electrical conduit or whatever you want to call it, you know. Again, I just find it hard to express the words to describe the feelings in English, you know. They always sound a bit stupid.
Flick the band there?
Yeah, I'm starting to flick it now a little bit, just minorly, like a millimeter or two, you know. Especially because I've got rid of a lot of the anchoring stuff down here. So now the band can actually start to move.
So at the top of the toe you're more steady, and
Yeah.
then once you get to the side, you kind of like...
Yep, that's exactly right. And by the time I get here, I can start to move a little bit in slightly bigger movements and slightly faster as well. Because as I say, I spend most of my time between here and here. And I'm just going to come back, just want to be a bit more thorough. I'm going in a lot deeper than I was to start with, that's for sure.
See that chopstick over that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now I'm sending some stronger, quite intense. It's about to overwhelm me, so I won't do that too much. But that's kind of what I'm building up to. It's like sending a whole vibration through the band that's just going, and it actually goes, yeah. I'm just going to let her process that. So you can see her arm, it's gone right up into her arm. Don't want to do too much. So, you know, I'll always rate, like say, micro, macro, you know. That's a very intense move when you start flicking that much energy around, so you've got to let her process it as well. And then wait until I feel like that's actually moved, all that I just stirred up has actually come out, and then I can stir it more.
Would you sometimes go back to the belly to move that?
Yes, if it gets stuck.
Oh,
Like I move it, but it doesn't go out, it gets stuck. And then I come in and I do assisted belly breathing or work those points. Or it could get stuck in here or in her head, in which case take a towel, massage the head. So it's really lodged in here. And this, like I said, this sort of tension can be lodged in for decades, or, you know, for most people it's just a buildup. Very few people have ever had their toes completely cleared of tension. So it's a chronic buildup when we're doing excavation. So as we build, you know, and it gets really stuck in here, and actually can develop into, you know, like I said, arthritis, or you can actually feel a little like, it feels like grains of sand under there, whatever they are, probably some sort of crystallized acids or something, I don't really know. But you can flush all of them out basically, till the point where the toe becomes just so soft and the joints are just working so well. Then, like I said, then it's just a question of maintaining that. So I'm just coming back to this spot. Then again, just working a little bit more along this band. Now I'm coming in with bigger increments because it's a sort of third run over, and I'm finding that we're still quite blocked in here. So I'm projecting that energy into there. And so she's got quite a large buildup of like tight skin and everything through here. I stop using a chopstick around here and I'd start to use those other tools. But while I'm on the big toe, I may as well do the ends of the other bands as well and just completely release the big toe because they do influence each other as well.
This only felt so good yesterday.
Yeah. You enjoying having a nice gentle toe massage?
Actually, it's a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So I'll come into this spot. So this is a very important spot to get right because you don't want to go into the nail bed here. All right, so you can see how I'm a few millimeters, 8 or 9 millimeters away from that, or I don't know, 5 millimeters. Again, just holding that spot, letting her breathe into it. This is what I was talking about yesterday when I was saying, you know, some people go, oh, you only did a toe. Whereas you can go, I did a toe. So again, just holding that. Again, I'm paying attention to her breathing, and I'm just going to give her a little rest to catch up, because you can see the intensity of her breath is making sure I breathe as well, because you can get caught up in what you're doing. Right?
Yes.
Even, you know, it gives me a little chance to shake off anything I'm picking up.
It helps a lot when you get arrested between, for sure.
Yeah. And you can see here, I'm not going too hard because it's so sensitive. I'm just letting her feel that. This is an incredibly sensitive spot for a lot of people. I'm slightly moving it. And coming up.
I think that's the best spot you found yet.
Yeah, well, you can see how much she likes it. And as I come up, again, I can start to do bigger movements. All right, but I feel like I've done a reasonable job there, but there's still a bit more in there. So now I'm going to come from here, where I've worked a bit, and I'm going to come around here. And this can be very, very tight on a lot of people. Coming back to that spot or slightly to the side of it. Let her breathe a couple times. Highly charged here. So I'm not going in too hard because this is fresh. Yeah. Got to take the first layer off before you go in too deep. And this is really intense in here. So I'm just going to hold that. Let her breathe into that.
I don't know, it doesn't look like it's intense for her.
Did you want to work on Karina later? Feel free to have a few good laughs, and, you know.
Still have it in there.
So here I'm joining the spots.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's so tight, and I'm just going to go right in the middle of where I was working before. Just hold it and let her breathe into it. And then she's not quite ready for me to move it side to side yet. I'll let her have a few more breaths before I do that. Oh. Okay. Now we're going to go in a bit deeper and then. It's funny because it's not the most radical looking move, but it's one of the most intense. It's like this slight movement here is so intense. That's why I say you got to have that perception first. Otherwise you start doing these without knowing what you're doing. It's you're either ineffective or you're way overwhelming. So I'm gonna let her just breathe a bit. I could then come up and just have a feel of her belly while I give her toe a rest. I'll come back up in a minute. And you can see sort of energy flying. All that's been trapped is starting to move. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Hardly feeling any resistance. Good breath. And again, because energy can pool in the hands and people can get tetany, I would then usually just clear all of that out with a towel. You can see a lot of joints moving, even though I already got them before. So we just do a bit of clearing of what we've stirred up. And you can already see the difference between her feet. Look at the big toe on that side compared to the big toe on that side. Eh? We're about halfway done with her big toe. The 25 hours of this and you'll be feeling amazing.